Hello, my name is Ekaterina,
My name is Natalie.
and in this video we are going to answer the question: in what ways does media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products?
Yeah.
We are going to speak about lighting, soundtrack, location, editing.
Narrative structure and character types.
First thing we are going to cover is lighting. We use lighting to present our horror sequence in a very anti-stereotypical way. As we all know, the majority of films and horror sequences use very low-key lighting to present fear and uncomfortableness in their film and horror sequence, which in my opinion is going to affect our audience, as from the questionnaire we found out that our audience want to see something new and they want to see something more realistic. So we filmed during daytime, daylighting our horror sequence, which kind of presented that horror can happen in a daily life as well, and not only in an imaginary places like forests and haunted houses.
The thing we're going to cover is narrative structures. Now, narrative structure creates a template for the film by creating a certain image for that film. For example, without a narrative structure, audience will not be able to recognize what the genre of the film is. Now, there's plenty of narrative theories, but the main one I want to cover right now is Todorov, as Todorov is the one we have used in our sequence. Now, Todorov talks about how everything starts from the beginning as normal. It shows a quiet atmosphere, but then it goes up to building up the disequilibrium, and then it goes on to going back to the equilibrium. Now, in our opening sequence, we decided to show, at the beginning, we have a normal, a known scene shown to the audience. Even though it's just 2 minutes long, we quite focused on creating that Todorov theory, pretty much. We just covered it up.
And the way we did this was at the beginning of
the scene.
Yeah, at the beginning of the scene, we presented the location that we were going to film by
as something
filming
quiet.
As something quiet, as a quiet area that is also anti-stereotypical
for a horror film.
Yes. So we did this by the panning shot of the name of the role that we were going to film, and around the area you could see that the place was completely different to what horror films would actually use.
Which then again was helped by the lighting, which is a daylight, and then by having that quiet area, it kind of shows Todorov's theory as everything starts off quietly, and then if the audience are interested in the film, which is our aim, to continue watching it, they will probably not see the theory because if they're not so familiar with it, but it literally starts with a quiet area and it continues to build up, and then maybe it will end up like with an equilibrium again, or maybe it will be something opposite, but they need to find out.
Next thing we're going to speak about is the way we used soundtrack.
So in our opening sequence, even though we were going for something completely anti-stereotypical for the horror genre, we used a specific element, which, like she said, soundtrack, which we used a Paranormal Whispers of a Child. Now, we use this because even though, like I mentioned, we're going for the anti-stereotypical, we included that one element which created the balance, you could say?
Yeah, the balance between the balance of the point we're trying to come across with.
To the
because
audience.
At the end, it is a horror sequence that we are trying to create, but if we were too anti-stereotypical,
It would
in
go
my
for
opinion,
a different genre.
Yes, in my opinion, the audience wouldn't get to understand what's happening and what the genre of the film is, which is a very important thing to come across with from the very beginning of the film.
Yeah, the very
So, the soundtrack, in my opinion, kind of creates a contrast between the reality and the anti-reality of everything that's happening in the film, which sticks behind our idea of making it very realistic, but also shows that in reality horror can happen as well.
Yes, but then, like you mentioned, we kept the contrast to the we kept it clear to the audience that yes, we're going for the anti-stereotype, but yes, we're including many elements such as soundtrack in our opening sequence.
To come across with this idea.
Yeah.